Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, with a little bit of a lag. All right, let's get right. My voice right there. Let's get right into today. Bob Myers, the architect behind the Golden State Warriors dynasty, is being courted by the Phoenix Suns and the Atlanta Hawks. Could he be the missing piece for either franchise? Let's talk about it. And what is being reported by Mark Stein and Jake Fisher of the Stein line is the Hawks, the Suns have expressed interest in bringing him on board as president of basketball operations. Where might he land? I'd like to hear what you have to say in the comments. Now, what I think is the most interesting part about this, the former GM, president of basketball operations for the Golden State Warriors from 2012 to 2023, four-time NBA champion, two-time NBA Executive of the Year, and currently serves as an ESPN analyst and consults for the NFL's Washington Commanders. If you guys did not know, Landry Fields was relieved of his job of being the GM of the Hawks. Onsi Saleh was promoted, and they were announced that they were going to look for a president of basketball operations, having not replaced or hired one since firing Travis Schleck. Now, the Suns are expected to move on from James Jones, who was the holdover from before Mat Ishbia took over from the Robert Sarver era. And Myers resides in Los Angeles. Phoenix is a short flight away. That's obviously going to be offering some convenience. If you look at Atlanta, that's on the other side of the country. Not that that plays a huge role in it, but you obviously have to think about the geographical proximity of where people want to be and where they're currently at actually has some sort of an appeal. Now, owner Mat Ishbia has demonstrated a willingness to invest heavily, evident in his significant spending on player acquisitions and coaching contracts. This guy will give Mr. Bob Myers every single tool to win. Now, the Suns are so deep into the luxury tax, limited draft assets, don't really have the roster flexibility, and kind of have an uphill battle, it seems, to become a competitive roster. Now, due to the frequent changes in staff and people coming in and out, the autonomy and the long-term stability might not be there. Yeah, Matt might say it is, but Bob might look like, buddy, look at the last 3 years. The recent track history doesn't paint that picture. While he seemingly enjoys his role on ESPN and the Commanders, which obviously are offering him the work-life balance that is completely the opposite of what is expected in the demand of an NBA front office position. Now the Atlanta Hawks. You're going to have a guy that you already worked with familiar with in Onsi Saleh. He worked under Myers with the Warriors, and they kind of have a cohesive working relationship. This is a better roster, a better situation you're going in terms. Trae Young, you've built around a point guard like Trae Young before. Jalen Johnson and Zachary Ricochet and Onyeka Okongwu give you a foundation to build a competitive team. You're not coming into a wasteland. And allegedly, Tony Ressler, the man who's never paid a luxury tax since I think maybe Joe Johnson, is willing to invest in a top-tier executive to steer the franchise forward with their leadership. Obviously, the Hawks are, I think, on the bridge of being able, or on the edge of being able to take that jump. If somebody can come in here and create what is needed, then it can achieve contention success. Obviously, I think what this will all come down to is he's a guy, does he want to do this? He's living a good life, flexible schedule when he needs advice, or when the Washington Commanders need some strategic advice, he comes in and as an advisor. Probably makes a little bit of money. He doesn't have to deal with the daily grind of team management. And obviously potentially returning to the demand of the NBA environment, which might be less appealing than it was before. However, both the Suns and the Hawks present unique opportunities and challenges for Myers. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Oso Ighodaro, Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen. You have pieces there. And the proximity and the aggressive ownership, while I think the Hawks, you have a familiar face. You have a good coach in Quinn Snyder. You got a young roster. I think given Myers' current commitments and lifestyle preference, a role to an NBA front office would require a compelling proposition that aligns with his personal and professional goals, which I think Atlanta might be the one. Why? He wouldn't be the GM. I think with the Suns, he would be the GM. And that's the big downfall here is I don't think he wants to be the GM. GM means day-to-day operations. Guess what? If he goes to Phoenix, I think he's going to be both. And he has to figure out a coach. He has to figure out a GM. He's got to figure out all this stuff. He goes to Atlanta. He looks at Onsi. He's like, I trust you. I'm going to handle the big picture stuff. We're going to make this work. And yeah, like we're going to do what we did in Golden State here. We don't have to find a coach. Like we like Quinn. That's how I see it. And yeah, that's where I'm going to leave this. I think it's kind of evident on that one, what's going on there. And I want to hear your guys' opinion if you guys agree with that or not. I think it's definitely a situation where if you look at it from the outside looking in, to me, it makes sense. You're looking at a coach who is good, who obviously you're going to want to be able to maximize his situation. So I think come in and having a guy like Snyder is going to allow you to do that.